Wild scenes as Alexandra Eala makes crowd erupt after matchpoint scare in Abu Dhabi. Wild scenes unfolded in Abu Dhabi as Alexandra Eala turned a near collapse into a roaring comeback, sending the crowd into a frenzy after surviving a matchpoint scare in the second round of the 2026 Abu Dhabi Open. The 20-year-old Filipina dug deep to outlast Alexandra Sasnovich 2-6, 6-4, 7-6, 5, in a contest that swung violently in momentum and emotion. A one-sided opening set sees Alexandra Sasnovich take firm control of the contest. Sasnovich set the tone early in the opening set. Serving with a first serve percentage of nearly 70%, Sasnovich effectively neutralized Eala's return game by varying her placement, winning 88% of her first serve points, 14/16, to race to a 6-2 lead. Eala struggled with her second serve protection, winning only 3 of 7 points, as Sasnovich stepped inside the baseline to take the ball early and create sharp angles that pulled the younger Filipina wide. The narrative shifted in the second set as Eala began to extend the rallies, forcing Sasnovich into more physical exchanges. While the statistical sheet showed high unforced error counts on both sides, Eala's tactical shift was evident in the breakpoint pressure she applied. She successfully converted 2 of 12 breakpoint opportunities. The technical turning point occurred at 4-4, where Eala's ability to defend the deuce-court slice serve allowed her to reset rallies and eventually break Sasnovich's serve to take the set 6-4. How did Alexandra Eala survive a matchpoint and reignite the crowd? The third set elevated the drama. Sasnovich surged to a 4-0 lead, appearing to have steadied herself just as Eala's energy dipped. Facing a breakpoint that would have pushed the deficit to 5-0, Eala ripped a forehand winner that changed the temperature inside the stadium. The comeback gathered steam as game stacked up and the crowd grew louder with each hold and break. Sasnovich served for the match at 5-2 and held a match point, but Eala charged forward, finishing at the net to stay alive. From there, the tension only tightened. They reached a tiebreak, where Eala trailed 5-4 before staying composed as Sasnovich faltered. 3 straight points later, Eala sealed the win, 2-6, 6-4, 7-6, 5, and collapsed into emotion as the stands erupted. The victory booked her a quarter-final meeting with world number 11 Ekaterina Alexandrova. This is going to be their first meeting on the WTA Tour, with the winner facing either 5th seed Ludmila Samsonova or Hailey Baptiste in the semifinals. Eala is also active in the doubles event with partner Janice Tien. The pair defeated Leylah Fernandez and Kristina Mladenovic 7-5, 3-6, 10-6 to reach the quarterfinals, where they will face second seeds Zhong Shuai and Christina Buxer. The sun dipped beneath the horizon of the UAE capital, yet inside the packed stadium court, the lights blazed as though the sky itself was being rewritten in brilliance. The crowd, a restless sea of energy, buzzed with expectancy. Flags waved. Voices pulsed. And at the heart of it all stood Alexandra Eala, the 20-year-old Filipina dynamo whose journey through tennis's upper echelons has been as emotional and electrifying as the match that was about to unfold. This was not just another match. It was a crescendo of skill, spirit, and sheer will, a dramatic drama that crowned its climax with a wild eruption from the crowd that will be remembered long after the final point. Tennis racket and ball, a match full of contrasts, from lurching setback to tenuous fightback. The mid-evening air lingered with anticipation as Eala faced Alexandra Sasnovich, a veteran competitor with a fluid serve and an imposing tactical mind. The opening set played out with Sasnovich dictating the tempo, feasting off first serves, forcing Eala into deep defensive positions, and charging to a 6-2 advantage with controlled aggression and merciless precision. It seemed like a tale all too familiar: experience over youth, pace over patience. Yet the tides began to change. The second set saw Eala extend rallies, her strokes longer, deeper, inviting error from her opponent instead of striking recklessly. Break points were fought like minor battles within the war, with Eala converting 2 out of 12. By the time she clinched the second set 6-4, the crowd, a charged hive of energy, sensed that evening's narrative was far from over. Fire down 4-0 in the decider. A moment of drama. What followed was the stuff of legend. Sasnovich came out firing in the third, racing to a 4-0 lead, smothering Eala's shot-making with dominating control. At 5-2, Sasnovich served for the match, even holding match point, and the arena winced collectively. The scoreboard seemed almost immovable, the outcome almost decided. But sports, and especially tennis, is a theatre that thrives on the unpredictable. With every point, Eala chipped away. Point by point, game by game, her belief, fueled by the chanting fans, grew. Her legs found rhythm, her touch sharpened, and suddenly the impossible was creeping into reach. At 4-5, she held serve, then forced a tiebreak. And it was in that climactic breaker, trailed 4-5, that her focus and nerve converged. 3 consecutive points later, the underdog had done it, a 2-6, 6-4, 7-6, 5 victory. Party popper, the crowd erupts, a moment of shared triumph. And then, it happened. In one collective breath, the crowd erupted. Cheers ricocheting off every corner of the stadium, shrieks of exhilaration, heartfelt applause, and chants that seemed to lift the roof. Sparklers of emotion lit up in faces young and old alike. A match-point scare became a shared euphoria, a story of persistence that every supporter had lived through with Eala, stroke by stroke, challenge by challenge. For a moment, time stood still. Players embraced, teammates smiled, and the crowd roared again, not just at the result, but for the fight, the comeback, and the raw humanity of competition. Voices, vibes, and energy. In post-match words, Eala admitted what the atmosphere had meant. The support, especially from Filipino fans and expatriates who had traveled or gathered for her, made a significant emotional difference, helping her dig deep when everything seemed poised against her. She spoke of fighting not just for herself, but for those who had come together to celebrate her and the sport itself. For many in the stands, this wasn't merely a tennis match. It was a moment of collective identity, a chance to rally behind a rising star and to feel, for a few heartbeats, that the spirit of competition is as much about connection as it is about athleticism. What makes this moment special? Here's what made this crowd's reaction particularly unforgettable. 1. A narrative arc of resilience. Eala didn't only win, she clawed her way back from the brink of defeat. Her journey from losing the first set to staring down match point galvanized the emotional response. 2. Emotional reciprocity. The crowd and the player fed off each other. As Eala found her rhythm, the cheers rose in intensity. And as the crowd grew louder, Eala's composure sharpened, a symbiotic loop of adrenaline and determination. 3. Cultural momentum. Eala isn't just a tennis player, she's a symbol of a growing sporting tradition back in the Philippines. Fans traveling from afar, Filipino expatriates in the region, and tennis aficionados who have tracked her ascent added layers to the moment's significance.